Good break down the left-hand side from United, and it was Garnacho just finding a little bit of time and space. They pick up the ball on the halfway line. It wasn't a great clearance from Flecken, but then the ball gets played into Garnacho. It's the first time delivery across the 6-yard box. He's about 8 yards out, Mason Mount. He's timed his run perfectly, and all he has to do is just side foot it into the back of the net. Brentford defenders just 2 or 3 yards away from him. Perfect start for the visitors.
And a little bit like Bilbao on Thursday night, in the sense that United have had to absorb a bit of early pressure, and yet they are the ones that have struck that decisive first blow.
Yep, it's a positive start for United. Just what they would have wanted. And it makes it for a good game as well now, because we know how good Brentford can be and how well they're doing this season. Don't think many would have thought at this stage of the season that the teams where they are in the Premier League. But it's a brilliant start for Manchester United.
Yeah, so Manchester United leading at Brentford this afternoon here on 5 Live Sports Extra as Ryan Mbeumo reaches the ball. There was a late challenge on Coyote off the ball, but Brentford are continuing. They've got possession. Mbeumo on the right side up against Shaw, swings it in, headed behind by De Ligt. It's a Brentford corner. Brentford 0, Manchester United 1. Franny Benali.
Great response from the home side to going that goal down. The supporters trying to do their bit as well, and I think we can see what the season is that Brian Mbeumo's had, the confidence he's playing with, the belief. He's looked dangerous on the ball, he's put some good crosses into the box, and he's just won his side the 4th corner this afternoon.
Yeah, 18 Premier League goals for Brian Mbeumo, which is a quite astonishing statistic. Him and Johan Wissa have been freely scoring. He's the one on the corner, Mbeumo here. And Bayindir stretching, I think he might have got his fingertips to it. No, says Anthony Taylor. Mind you, there's a lot of Brentford players immediately surrounding the referee to say that it should have been a corner, but goal kick is the decision.
Might possibly have given a foul there somewhere in the melee of the players. Might have been a little nudge possibly. Don't think there was too much wrong, but I'd agree with you. Bayindir has done well, getting his fist to a number of deliveries into the box already this afternoon. For such a player not to have played, I think it's only one start, is it? He's had?
It is, yeah. And it wasn't a particularly good one for him, that match against Newcastle a few weeks ago, because he conceded 4 goals in that game, Bayindir. But he's got the opportunity to impress Ruben Amorim today. And a clean sheet for him so far, but not for Brentford, who are 1-0 down against Manchester United here at a packed house in this particular part of West London. And we've got the very modern floodlights as well, Franny, in the corner of the stadium that are piercing down with their light onto the pitch here. I think they probably are needed today as well, because you underestimate sometimes, even though we can see a bit of blue sky peeking through ahead of us, that it can feel a little overcast in here, and I think the lights are just helping to give this pitch a nice gleaming look.
Yeah, the pitch is looking incredible, isn't it? Like every Premier League ground nowadays, Chris. But when I first walked through a little bit earlier, when we arrived at the ground, just looked at the pitch and it almost looked false. It was in that good a condition. So Brentford will be wanting to zip the ball around, set the tempo and get back into this game if they can. But United are just going to be quite content as they are at the moment to just sit in their shape and ask those questions of Brentford. Can you come and break us down now? You know, we've taken the lead. They'll be quite happy with the way the game's gone so far. And we're seeing both managers in the technical area. Thomas Frank making a few notes already.
Yeah, your notes are flying all over the place. That's how windy it is. Thomas Frank's got the big notepad out, and you've got your paper, and that's ended up in my lap. I might nick some of those stats.
That was a good catch, very good catch.
Mason Mount with the goal for Manchester United. They're leading here against Brentford by 1-0, and United in possession with Harry Amas, who is getting an opportunity today from the start for United as the ball goes out to the far right-hand side for Fredrickson, who was under pressure from Schade, and actually the young Man United defender touched that out of play, so it's going to be a Brentford throw, and Schade is going to get spoken to, I think, here by Anthony Taylor, as well as Fredrickson, because those two had a little push and a shove after the ball had gone out of play there, and Anthony Taylor wants to simmer the tension down.
Yeah, I mean, he's having a word with both Schade and Fredrickson, Chris, but I don't think there's much in that. It was just a little bit of a barge, and Sharda wanted to get the ball back and take the throw in quickly, but as you said, the referee Anthony Taylor just wants to keep fully in control of this game and just having a little word with both players just to keep things a little bit calm.
So Michael Coyote is going to send this in, the on-loan Fiorentina man for Brentford, in towards that near post. It's bounced once, then it's headed away by Kobbie Mainoo for Manchester United, picked up by Ugarte halfway inside Brentford's half. He's been hounded by players, but somehow he's got out of it, Ugarte, and he's shifted the ball forward to Mount, and Mount from the halfway line looking to pick out Obi, cleared away by Brian Mbeumo, who was back on the edge of his own penalty area there, the Brentford forward, to strike it away on the half volley. Up it goes to the halfway line for Wissa. Tricky one for him to take on his chest. And Manchester United get possession back again, leading by a goal to nil. Here is Mason Mount, halfway inside Brentford's half with his red boots on, out towards the right wing for Dorgu. Dorgu infield for Mainoo. Mainoo for Mount. Mount backwards to Ugarte. And all of this at the moment just inside Brentford territory. And now they're back in their own half, Manchester United, with Luke Shaw.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'm just thinking what the Manchester United fans might think of what they've seen so far from their United side. A young team that have started the game well, looked positive, zipped the ball around. They're clearly leading the game with that one goal from Mason Mount already so far. You know, clearly there's a lot of long futures probably in these players in their careers, but they'll be probably looking at this thinking maybe Ruben Amorim might have selected some of these younger players in some of the other games in the Premier League. What we've seen so far this season, the way the season's gone for them. Yeah,
and it has been a squad that has been stretched at times, Manchester United's, by injuries as well. And talking of players who are very much sit at the top of that list, Luke Shaw sending the ball back there to Bayindir. Came in against Bournemouth for his first start last weekend in the Premier League for 434 days. It has been a very difficult time for the former Southampton defender.
Yeah, it certainly has. He'd be pleased to be back out on the grass, especially leading the team as a captain today. But there was just a moment there, ball got played back from the midfield area back to Bayindir, and he just slipped for a split second onto his front. I don't think there was any real danger of the ball going in the back of the net. There was a long way away from the ball and him, but it was one of those moments that a few United supporters just gasped for a moment, an intake of breath. Wouldn't want to have seen that ball just trickle past them into the back of the net.
No, I noticed, by the way, Ruben Amorim, the Manchester United coach, who is probably about 5 metres in front of us, just down to our left-hand side, is he came out earlier with one of those small gilets on, and I know he's now put on that very thick, padded jacket down there, so he's clearly feeling the chill.
Well, I think we've had such lovely weather recently, haven't we, that everyone gets sucked into thinking it's that nice, but it's certainly a chilly afternoon here, and the wind is probably could play a little bit of a factor. It swirls around this G-Tech Stadium, doesn't it, the community stadium, so the players themselves will have to be mindful of that, the way it's whipping around the ground.
He's looking very smart today, Ruben Amorim. He's got the rusty chinos on and the bright white trainers. Here is Mason Mount for Manchester United, up towards Obi, who hasn't really been able to get into the game so far, the 17-year-old, despite the fact that Manchester United have got the lead here through Mason Mount's goal, as De Ligt hurriedly but accurately from the backline manages to shift it out to Dorgu, who's been used as a right wing back today by Manchester United, into midfield for Garnacho, who's got some bandage around his left wrist as he runs forward from the halfway line, but his pass is broken up by Coyote, the Brentford right back, and he's on a bit of a run now, but Luke Shaw soon puts a stop to that, and suddenly United are back on the attack again, and they've got it with Garnacho leading 1-0. This is Ugarte. We've just gone past the halfway point in the first half here on 5 Live Sports Extra, on BBC Sounds as well. It's West Ham 0, Tottenham 1 in one of the other Premier League games that got underway at 2 o'clock. Wilson Odobert has got the goal for Spurs at London Stadium, and still no goals between Brighton and Newcastle. That's on 5 Live right now, that West Ham Spurs game. You can hear online via the BBC Sport website, and of course we'll have Chelsea against Liverpool as well to come later on 5 Live for you as well from 4:30 at Stamford Bridge. Ali Bruce Ball and Pat Nevin will be there for that one to see the champions, and perhaps a Chelsea Guard of Honour maybe for Liverpool.
Oh yeah, I've read a few things about Guards of Honours this week, Chris. Whether you do it, whether you should do it, it's an interesting one. It's nice to show a bit of respect, I guess, but certain fans get upset by that, I think, and one or two players.
Yeah, I can imagine you might not have necessarily been one that liked doing that. Here is Obi, and over comes Nathan Collins to stop him, and he's also stopped the ball from going behind for a corner and kept Brentford moving as well as they shift it nicely out of their back line and out towards this right hand side for Coyote. Now towards Brian Mbumo. Talk unsurprisingly this week about a possible summer transfer for him. I saw Newcastle United's name was very prominent in the press this week.
It's not a surprise, Chris, really, is it? You know, him and Johan Wissa have been outstanding this season, 18 and 17 goals respectively. They've had a fantastic season so far.
This is Yarmolic for Brentford, right-footed cross. It bounced off the back of the head of Luke Shaw. I don't think he knew too much about it, but it did the job as far as Manchester United were concerned. Coyote on the right wing. Brentford in possession and trying to just penetrate Manchester United's final third here as final third here is
shaping up that one this afternoon, I think, isn't it? Schade, positive, trying to take his opponent on, but Fredrickson doing well, winning the throw.
But they've made a mess of it, Manchester United, and now the ball's in possession inside the penalty area with Wissa, who sent it across the 6-yard box, and Coyote had actually crept in there before Manchester United managed to sweep it clear to this right-hand side for a Brentford throw. 26 minutes played, 1-0 Manchester United. Mason Mount with the goal.
And I think, again, this time on his own side, we're going to see a long throw from Coyote, and he can throw it in, by the way.
Yeah, they're using that, aren't they, as a bit of a weapon here, you can see it.
Yeah, most definitely. He's more than capable of reaching the near post, if not further.
So Brentford going to left to right as we view it with this throw with Coyote in towards Schade, headed away by Mainu. Coyote jumps and then it's flicked towards goal. It's in. Mikael Damsgaard claims it. By Indir beaten. I think there was a deflection that made it almost impossible for the Manchester United goalkeeper to keep it out. And there is the Brentford equaliser from one of their players of the season, but mainly because of his assists. But Mikael Damsgaard, possibly with a touch off Luke Shaw on its way to goal, makes it Brentford 1, Manchester United 1.
And there's the result of the long throw from Coyote. He was running across to the opposite side to take a number of throws, even though he's coming across from right back. And it's partly dealt with, but then he bravely goes in for a challenge. Then it's Damsgaard just tries helping it across the 6-yard box. But you're right, Chris. Luke Shaw just gets a little touch off his head and deflects in past Bayender. He gets a hand to it, but not enough to stop it going into the back of the net.
And there really was nothing he could do about that either, was there, the Manchester United goalkeeper?
No, you can't put any blame on the goalkeeper for that at all. Deflection off United's skipper this afternoon.
I think that shot from Damsgaard was on target, so it probably will still go down as his goal.
Well, you just never know nowadays, do you? I certainly would have been claiming it, that's for sure, with my goal scoring record.
Mind you, if you were Luke Shaw, you'd be trying to stay as far away from the responsibility as possible, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's just one of those things, you know. He's obviously tried getting a block and getting a touch on the ball from Damsgaard, but comes with the territory, I'm afraid, as a defender. Can often happen. And he's the unlucky one on this occasion that it's gone in. We'll see whether it goes down as Damsgaard goal or an OG for Luke Shaw.
Either way, 1-1 the scoreline as Yarmolic gives the ball away in midfield. Here is Obi trying to help it onto the right-hand side for Dorgu, covering back with Schade. And he sends it back to his goalkeeper, Mark Flecken. And listen to the G-Tech off the back of that equalising goal. They've raised the level here of noise, but Manchester United have got the ball back again here. That was given away poorly by Brentford, and Ugarte just settling things down for Ruben Amorim's team, giving it back into De Ligt on the halfway line, and Luke Shaw decides to go all the way back to goalkeeper Bayender. So Brentford 1, Manchester United 1 is the scoreline as Bayindir hooks one out towards the left-hand side for Luke Shaw, who dallied a little, and Brian Mbeumo read the situation, takes it off him, gives it to Norgard 5 yards outside Manchester United's penalty area. Back for Yarmolik, and now Nathan Collins has it.
It wasn't a good ball from Bayindir, Chris, was it, to Luke Shaw? He's whipped it across himself, but it was a looping pass, and it bounced 2 or 3 times before Luke Shaw, and it enabled Mbeumo to come and close Luke Shaw down. He's either got to clear his lines there or get the ball out to his fullback Stephen Sharper.
Here's Lewis Potter trying to get into the box. He's going to drop for Wissa. Wissa's hit it on the volley, and it's ended up coming all the way across the box to Brian Mbeumo. It wasn't an intended pass, but it's kept the momentum of the attack going for Brentford here. He's teed it up for Damsgaard. Damsgaard's whipped it in. Shaw's stooped slightly to head it away for Manchester United, and then Dorgu is pulled over by Wissa, so it's going to be a Manchester United free kick on the edge of their penalty area.
Yeah, correct decision from Anthony Taylor. I think there was a couple of challenges there from the Brentford side that the ref could have blown his whistle for. Just seeing a replay of Mason Mount on the edge of the 18-yard box, possibly a foul on him, but it was the second one, I think. Got the ref shot, to be honest, and it's the deflection off Luke Shaw. More of an own goal for me, Chris, I think.
Has, I'm being told, gone down as a Luke Shaw own goal, so 1-1 the scoreline here. Brighton have taken the lead against Newcastle in that game which matters for both in terms of European football next season. Yankuba Minte has got the goal at the Amex. That's live on 5 Live right now, and West Ham have equalised against Tottenham at London Stadium. Jared Bowen has made it 1 apiece there. So goals in all of our Premier League games so far today on 5 Live, with Chelsea against Liverpool to come from 4:30. Finished 1-1 earlier today in the Scottish Premiership, if you missed it, between Rangers and Celtic. A couple of games in the WSL that have already taken place. Everton 2-0 winners in the Merseyside derby at Liverpool. And Manchester United against Manchester City finished 2-2, which you may well have heard earlier today on 5 Live Sports Extra, as Obi and Collins coming together on the halfway line. Bit of a tussle between those two before the ball breaks to Lewis Potter, the Brentford left back, and he gives it across the edge of his box to Collins, and Collins goes back to Mark Flecken. Match of the day tonight, match of the day 2 from 10:30 on BBC One and the iPlayer. Got the women's football show as well, if you're in the market for that, from 9 o'clock on the iPlayer, and you can keep your eyes open. 11:45 tonight as well on BBC Two, so we'll round up everything that's happened in the WSL today in that. Here come Brentford with Norgard from the halfway line, out to the right hand side for Coyote, closed down by Garnacho, so he just has to move infield with the ball to Yarmolik, who very quietly has gone about his business this season for Brentford. The young Ukrainian midfielder, really well thought of by Thomas Rank. And Mbeumo up to the edge of the penalty area for De Ligt, who made the challenge. It breaks free for Norgard for Brentford. 1-1 the scoreline. De Ligt's holding his leg. He wants Brentford to stop. They're not going to stop. Norgard chipping it in. Sharda's header. 2-1 Brentford. Kevin Sharda guided it past Bayindir into the corner. And Brentford have come from behind to lead Manchester United. Sharda's having a great few days. Scored against Nottingham Forest on Thursday night, and now one on this Sunday against Manchester United. Several United players around Anthony Taylor to complain about the fact that he didn't stop play when De Ligt was on the ground, but it was a leg injury, it wasn't a head injury, and Brentford got on with it, and they scored it, and they lead the game 2-1.
It's just going to be interesting to see how many of the Manchester United players almost stopped, thinking the injury to De Ligt, that Anthony Taylor should have stopped play, but as you correctly say, it's a leg injury, it's not a head injury. Brentford more than within their rights to continue playing. They zipped it around well, The initial injury, I think, came with a little bit of a challenge to De Ligt when he went to try and win the ball in a tackle with Wissa, but they carry on, Brentford. The ball gets chipped up, and then Kevin Schade at the far post rises above his opponent, and it's a fabulous little downward header into the back of the net. Beautiful team goal from Brentford. 2-1 to the home side.
What a leap that was as well from Kevin Schade. Talk about players really wanting to go and win the ball. He seemed to climb about a foot taller than everyone else who tried to aerially challenge for the ball in there.
Yeah, and we've spoken about the goals of Mbuemo and Wissa, but that's Schade's 9th goal, I think, now, Chris, isn't it, this season? You know, that attacking trio that Brentford have and Thomas Frank has at his disposal have certainly reaped rewards, haven't they? And it's no surprise that they're sat currently in 11th in the Premier League. We're just seeing De Ligt really struggling.
Yeah,
just hobbling to the touchline. Could be a nasty one, that.
Yeah, he's leaning over De Ligt. In fact, he's definitely not going to be able to continue, is he, here? And in fact, I can see Harry Maguire has been prepared already by Manchester United, so off the back of conceding that goal, they are going to be forced into a change here, Manchester United. So Maguire, who is very much back in favour of all that wing wizardry. I don't know if you saw his play in the build-up to Casemiro's goal at Bilbao on Thursday night.
Centre halves and going on mazy runs and dribbles, is that a thing nowadays? It must be.
Well, it seems to be for him at the moment. If he's not on the wing, he's in the box scoring big goals for Manchester United. But they need him here, and Brentford have got their tails up, coming again, leading 2-1. And Bumo's ball into the box, headed away. That first touch from Harry Maguire is just going to be seen out of play by Schade, and Brentford are going to have a corner here. And Kevin Schade's enjoying a bit of back and forth with those Manchester United supporters. He went over in that direction when he scored the goal to celebrate, so I imagine he'd been taking a bit of stick from the United fans prior to scoring that Brentford goal, and having won that corner, I think he had something else to say there as well.
Yeah, quite possibly, Chris. He's enjoying his goal for sure, but there's been that little battle with him and Fredrickson, hasn't there, up until this goal. But United have got some defending to do now.
Yeah, they look a bit shaky. Damsgaard with the ball in, caught by Bayindir in all green with the splashes of yellow down the front of his goalkeeping jersey, and then he bowls it out to this left-hand side for Harry Amas, who is making his 5th Premier League appearance for Manchester United today. And there's a foul on Garnacho. Norgaard's just zipped the legs from underneath him, so Manchester United free kick halfway inside their own half on this near left-hand side, and we have got 7 minutes plus stoppage time left of the first half here.
Yeah, the first half's gone really quick, hasn't it? Decent game of football here this afternoon, but Brentford shut down so well at times, don't they? There's occasions where United just take that little bit of time on the ball at the back, zipping the ball around a little bit slower than maybe what they should do, and Brentford just latch on to the players and put them under real pressure in their last third.
The statistic, Franny, that caught my eye this week from a Manchester United perspective is that they have this season won more games under Ruben Amorim in the Europa League than they have in the Premier League.
Wow. Well, there you go. That says it all, don't we? I think it's fair to say that it's been a horrendous Premier League campaign for them, hasn't it? And it's been the Europa League that's been their saving grace, really. I mean, you look at their form in the domestics. They'd lost in the Charity Shield right at the beginning of the season to City on penalties. They lost to Tottenham in the League Cup quarter-final, and then they lost to Fulham on penalties in the 5th round of the FA Cup, and the Premier League's been awful, so the Europa League has just been their real saving grace for them.
Thursday night is when Athletic Bilbao head to Old Trafford, which will be live on 5 Live. Make sure you join us for that, and for Bird a glimpse against Tottenham in the other Europa League semi-final. We'll have Arsenal in Paris this week as well in the Champions League for you on Wednesday evening too, as Bayindir clears the ball out of play, the Manchester United goalkeeper. Not that he intended to put it out of play for a Brentford throw, and they've shifted it along quickly, Thomas Frank's team. Lewis Potter and Schade trying to combine. Schade went for the back heel to try and get it back to him, and the ball bounces out of play. It's off Fredrickson, so it's going to be a Brentford throw deep inside Manchester United's half, far left. They're leading by 2-1 here, having been behind through Mason Mount's opener 14 minutes in, but That unfortunate own goal for Luke Shaw and the header from Kevin Schade have Brentford ahead.
You can see the setup. I mean, he's taken a quick throw on this occasion.
Yeah, and Lewis Potter's going to drive it into the box for Brentford. Met on the volley by Fredrickson, picked up by Mbeumo. Back out to that left-hand side for Coyote, and Coyote with a step over and then tries to delicately put it into the path of Mbeumo, and it's just thumped out of play straight out for a throw by Kobbie Mainoo.
Well, sorry Chris, what I was going to say was Coyote's going from almost the right side of the pitch across to the far left-hand side to take these throw-ins, and it's clearly a thing for Brentford because he's got a towel over there that he's using to wipe the ball and get more purchase, and again he takes another short one, but
yeah, Lewis Potter again delivering with his right foot. That wasn't the greatest from the former Hull City man.
Yeah, poor delivery, pretty much going straight out of play, but just goes to show that they're trying to make this set piece throw-in in the final third a part of their armoury. Brentford just having a quick glimpse again at that injury that they get legit picked up. Hopefully it's not a serious one for him.
And talking of Keane Lewis Potter and his association with Hull, we were at Fratton Park yesterday, weren't we, to see the Tigers secure their championship status. Luton relegated along with Plymouth yesterday from the championship.
Yeah, the scenes at the final whistle when you on a final day like that, when you see a side in the bottom three and potentially being relegated out of the championship, it was brilliant to witness at the end.
That was lovely football by Brentford in midfield until Coyote was stopped by Ugarte, but there were a couple of magnificent flicks in there by first Mbeumo and then Coyote, and now they're hunting in packs, Brentford, to get it back, and they've got it back through Yarmolik's tenaciousness. Obi's going to go and chase after Collins to try and close him down, and indeed the goalkeeper Flecken for Brentford, who very calmly gives it to Lewis Potter. Lewis Potter's ball forward is tremendous. He's got it all the way up towards Schade on the left wing. Schade up against Fredrickson, into the box, on his right foot, shoots, saved by Bayendir. That was a good stop from the goalkeeper, plunging quickly down to his left-hand side, Bayendir, to make the save. But Brentford get it back again. They are, at the moment, causing Manchester United plenty of problems coming forward, Franny.
They certainly are, Chris, and you can see why they've done that all season, to be fair. Wonderful play from Schade, cut inside as Fredrickson unleashed a low right-footed shot, and it was a good save from Bayendir.
Come on Brentford, the chant from the home supporters, and Mbeumo swirling the cross in. That's come off Fredrickson's head. Just breezed the top of that thick jet black hair of Tyler Fredrickson, the Manchester United defender. So it's going to be a Brentford corner.
He's got his hands full this afternoon, hasn't he? It was a great ball to release Schade initially, and then Fredrickson's almost on a little bit of a 1v1 situation, but Schade comes out on top to unleash his shot in. You've got to give credit to the Manchester United goalkeeper, Bayendir, low to his right, keeps the ball out, pushes it wide.
Yep, so Brentford corner, 2-1 the scoreline, 3 minutes of the first half to play here on 5 Live Sports Extra, as Damsgaard on most of the Brentford corners. On this one as well, the Dane right-footed. There was Collins, who tried to hook it towards goal. Van den Berg was in there as well. Neither could make clean connections, and then Ugarte's given it away. He's given it straight to Coyote, who's run away from him, and Ugarte's had a grab at the shirt, and the Manchester United midfielder, without a shadow of a doubt, is going to be booked by Anthony Taylor for that.
Yeah, quite clearly a yellow card. Don't think there's ever going to be a dispute for that. Coyote doing well, took a good touch. He had the beating of Ugarte. He's just pulled him back quite blatantly to concede a foul, and it just gives that extra lift again to the home supporters to get behind their side.
Sorry, but I was going to say it was one of those where the Uruguayan just walked away, didn't even give Anthony Taylor any eye contact. I think he knew exactly what was going on behind him. Yeah, I've had 1 or 2 occasions like that in the past in my own career. You just know that you've made the foul and what's going to be coming. But it gives Brentford another opportunity to sling a delivery into the box, and it's going to be Damsgaard with the free kick. Yeah, Mikael Damsgaard, who has been brilliant in terms of his performances from midfield, his creativity for Brentford this season. He's in double figures for assists even before today's game. Damsgaard, free kick, 5 yards outside the box on the right hand side. Damsgaard raises his right arm into the air, in it goes, Bayendir stopped it. He was falling backwards into his goal mouth, the Manchester United keeper there, And there were one or two that looked towards the assistant referee just to see whether the ball had crossed the line. We've got the goal line technology anyway, haven't we?
It's a fabulous save, a close range save, literally from yards from Norgard. Hits him almost in the midriff, so he blocks it really with anything else as opposed to making a save with his hands, but whatever it takes to keep it out.
Really struggling, Manchester United at the moment, to have any sort of possession and phases of play here. They are just having to watch wave after wave of Brentford attacks.
They are, Chris. They've lost the grip of the game for sure after taking that early lead. Looking pretty strong. They were knocking the ball around well. All of a sudden, the momentum's just shifted in the home side's favour. And they've got those 2 goals back to give them the lead, haven't they? So it's a hard sort of task now for United to get back in this.
One in their last 5 in the Premier League, Manchester United. It's their worst run in 6 years. It's not gone without a victory in 6 Premier League games for just shy of a decade. So that's potential on the line here for Manchester United, unless they can turn this game around here. Trailing by 2 goals to 1, as Fredriksson gives it back to Bayindir, who very quickly has sent that back to Amas, who didn't take his eye off the bounce of the ball. I mean, it wasn't the greatest pass to him from Bayindir, but nevertheless it's gone past the youngster and out for a Brentford throw.
Yeah, and you'd imagine sort of like players of this quality would be able to deal with that, but Amas, his touch wasn't great and it went out for a throw.
3 minutes of stoppage time has just been indicated by the 4th official down in front of us, Sam Barrett. So a Brentford free kick here as well. And I think Manchester United and Ruben Amorim will just want to get his players into that dressing room and accept that 2-1 is a scoreline that Manchester United can work with, because right now, if they were in a boxing ring, they'd be on the ropes, wouldn't they?
Oh, they most definitely are, Chris. And you talked about and touched on those stats for their form in the Premier League this season. They've won just 4 of their 15 away games. It says it all, doesn't it? I mean, their league position, currently sat 15th. It's crazy really to think that they are where they are in the Premier League.
Trailing here against Brentford, who have got a free kick from the right. Damsgaard sends it low this time, and it's bounced loose before it's picked up by Mason Mount, who's running towards his own corner flag on this near side, and then Harry Amas with a clever touch. Damsgaard stripped him, and it is a Manchester United free kick. So 2-1 to Brentford here, still 1-0 to Brighton against Newcastle, which is our game on 5 Live right now. And West Ham and Tottenham is 1 apiece at London Stadium. Both those games approaching half-time. West Ham against Spurs is available to listen to on the BBC Sport website right now. And we will have for you a little later on today some Super League now, and West Ham and Tottenham is 1 apiece. The BBC Sport website right now, and we will have for you a little later on today some Super League Rugby for you, the last game of the Magic Weekend here on 5 Live Sports Extra. Castleford against Wakeford, and on 5 Live
good.
Norgard tried to volley in a second ball inside a penalty area. Brentford getting the second through Kevin Schotter's monster header over the head of Tyler Fredrickson at the back post. Brentford 2, Manchester United 1 at the break. Half-time at the GTEC Community Stadium. Brentford 2, Manchester United 1. United ahead through Mason Mount's goal on 14 minutes. Lovely counter-attack. Garnacho crossing to the England midfielder who converted it from close range. Brentford, those... Yeah, well, welcome back. Second half back to get underway at the GTEC Community Stadium. And news of 2 substitutions from Manchester United. So I predicted Casemiro to come on at the break, but Ruben Amorim going in a different direction. He's going to send on Amad Diallo and Lenny Yoro. I'm Simon Barlow, joined by Kieran Shelley for the commentary. And do you see what Mr. Amorim's going to try and do here?
Yeah, I mean, especially if he takes the 2 young players off. I was saying at half-time that I think they've struggled. Shaw or Fredrickson, you'd like to think maybe a better airily than both of those.
Yeah, Shaw's gone off. So Fredrickson has stayed on. It's Shaw and Dorgu who've gone off.
Dorgu? That surprised me.
Yeah.
I'd have thought Amas would have come off and Dorgu would have gone to the left with Diallo on the right, but clearly he's wanting to rest Dorgu and maybe Shaw for Thursday.
Yeah, obviously he's worried about injuries. Now, there are 2 players. Well, maybe not Shaw. I think Shaw's probably just the fact that he doesn't really last 90 minutes anyway. So, anyway, back underway. Brentford had kick-off. They've sent it long. United headed away. Brentford knock it back up towards Schade. Wins a flick on. This one will fall kindly for Maguire. Lenny Yoro is going to play on the left side of the back 3. And looks like Tyler Fredrickson will switch to the right. So, this is interesting because... Well, actually, no, he started off on the right anyway, didn't he, Fredrickson? So, he's not actually not to switch. But... yeah, anyway, United lose possession there through Fredrickson's not great ball to Amad, and it's going to set up the first long throw opportunity of the second half for Michael Coyote, who switches across from one side of the pitch to the other. So this is really where the battle is in the second half. Can United stand up to this aerial bombardment of their penalty area?
Yeah, indeed, and like I mentioned, Yoro's come on, you assume to shore up that aerial defensive aerial ability for Manchester United.
Coyote lines up, sends one into the near post area. It's missed by United eventually. No, it was a foul anyway at the near post on Maguire. Who's help.
Walks into him, but he's got no eyes for the ball.
Yeah, he's not looking at the ball, is he? That's just blatantly trying to take Maguire out.
Yeah, and I mean, it's brave on one main account, that's that it's not going to get spotted, because even if it doesn't get spotted, play goes at the back of the net somehow, it's going to be VAR, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a strange decision. Just needs to be a bit cuter if he's going to play that game.
Like I said, I think they're just softening him up. It's a case of, let's see if Harry Maguire fancies it. He's a player that doesn't want to get injured, obviously, because it's Europa League semi-final, final beckoning for him. Let's see if he fancies it. If he just literally just try and barge him over, and. Anyway, the free kick was given. We'll see if that helps soften up the United defence any further for future set pieces. Yoro plays it back to Bayandir. Goalkeeper left-footed, clears up towards Garnacho. That was Amas. Amas down the line to Garnacho. Then it's played inside to Mainu. Mainu can't jig his way around Norgard, and Damsgaard now moves it forward. A little ball inside is well read by Maguire, and a good pass out to Amas might spring United forward. Obi makes a run between central defenders. Amas cuts in field. Mount was the offering there for him, plays a 1-2 with Mainu instead, and that goes back to Agate. Now Mount from a central area. carrying it forward with 2 Brentford players stood next to him. He knocks it back into Fredrickson. Now Ugarte back to the young Manchester United defender. Maguire, faced up by Mbeumo, goes square to Yoro. United struggling to build up at the moment as Brentford push them back towards Altay Bayandía. Next goal is going to be crucial, isn't it? I think if Brentford scored, you think the 3 points would be fairly safe at the GTEC Community Stadium, but should United get an equaliser, then all bets are off, I guess.
Yeah, indeed. If United get an equaliser, it's probably going to be an exciting end to the game with Brentford chasing the points, and obviously Manchester United want to be in form with Thursday and potentially a Europa League final a couple of weeks later on the horizon. Diallo's just been fouled.
Yep, Sharda took a ride on the Ivorian's back, gives away a free kick in the middle of the pitch.
I'm interested that Amarin's happy with Sharda up against Fredrickson. I think he's beaten him once or twice on foot and obviously in the air for the second goal. And I can't imagine Diallo's been instructed to help him out much.
No. Yeah, for me, it's a case of sink or swim for Fredrickson, isn't it? You know, yeah. Here's a chance for Brentford on the counter-attack, and the ball gets past Yoro, but just a bit too much on that as it goes out of play for a goal kick. And Mbeumo was the target, but the pass was a bit too strong from Visser. Yeah, I think this is Tyler Fredrickson. Can you handle a Premier League, son? You know, he played against Wolves a couple of weeks ago, didn't do too badly there. But this is another huge test for him, really. And I think if he comes through it, you'd say you got to play there for next season. But at the moment, he's been culpable or partially culpable on one of Brentford's goals, and he looks a bit shaky when Sharda's been running at him, as you'd expect. But he's got to live with that. Now, good ball into the channel here for Garnacho, who's got in behind Coyote. Garnacho attacking the edge of the penalty area, takes on Coyote again, then gets a good ball back to the edge of the box, and Mount hits a shot which takes a deflection, comes back to Mount again, he hits a better effort, and it's straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, really good work from Mount, though, to create 2 chances for himself. You have to give plaudits, of course, to Garnacho on that left-hand side. I think they've been 2 of Manchester United's best players this afternoon. It's Garnacho doing what Garnacho does. He actually almost beats 2 players, suddenly plays the ball through the legs of Norgard. Strong block from Collins, and then got Mount's second shot, just not quite good enough.
5 minutes gone in the second half, still 2-1 Brentford lead at home. Ball back to Flecken, knocks it to Vandenberg. Vandenberg progresses it into midfield, laid back there, awkward for Yarmul-Juk, but now Norgard brings it clear. It comes off the heels of Visser, and the link-up play just not quite there for Brentford at the moment. That allows United to counter here through Garnacho, who goes past the challenge of Norgard, and then he's called back by the referee's whistle. There was just a little arm on the shoulder there of the Danish midfielder, which the referee spotted.
Yeah, he wasn't happy at all. Garnacho
with
that
card,
decision. Yeah, I was just about to say, I won't be surprised if Anthony Taylor
could understand his frustration, but
yeah,
he's got to show a little bit less dissent than that.
A bit more composure.
Yeah, his reaction is a bit histrionic. Anyway, play continues. Brentford had that free kick, and now Damsgaard knocks it forward, given away to Fredrickson. Fredrickson inside to Mainu. Mainu's got to get something going in midfield now, and he's shown too much of that to Damsgaard again and almost lost the ball. With a bit of help from Ugarte, they do keep it, with Yoro now going back to the goalkeeper, Bayandía. Yeah. Again, we're seeing from Kobbie Mainu, great player on the ball, and in the Europa League we've seen some really good performances from him, but in the Premier League it just goes that little bit quicker, and there's more. He gets less time on the ball, less time to show what he can do, and I think he struggled in this game, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's been good when he's had the ball in behind, but I mean, that's his bread and butter, isn't it, really? He's beaten maybe 1 or 2 players, but again, that's his bread and butter. It's his link-up play, typically, for me, is always where he falls a little bit short, his decision-making in terms of making the right pass, executing the right pass, but yeah, he's done quite a lot, had to do quite a lot of defensive work as well, seen him up against Mbeumo a couple of times. Oh,
Amas almost lost that on the edge of his own penalty area, but Ugarte's there to help him out. He does really well, the Uruguayan, and he comes away with the ball now. Brentford trying to corral this counter-attack. It's a good ball inside to Kobbie Mainu. He's got to use it quickly this time. Again, the Brentford defenders get back on him. He plays it wide to Amas, who shuffles it forward. Now a run from Garnacho, which he doesn't quite link up with. Goes back to Mainu instead. Amas again, just playing it off the Brentford player, Damsgaard, for a Manchester United throw, which they take quickly and go back to Agate. And now Mount. Well, it comes off the front and plays it wide to the right-hand side for Ahmad. Loads of space here for the Manchester United substitute. He attacks the defender, gets past him to the byline. Still going Ahmad into the penalty area, just falls down as he gets there to the byline. Just put off balance really by an arm out, I think, from the Brentford defender, and that put him off.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, Collins must have done enough to say that Diallo had beaten him. Just look here. In fact, it doesn't really make any contact, does it? I think Diallo just can't slow down his sprint enough to get in control of the ball. See him losing balance after his second touch around the back of Collins. But, you know, it's a good sign of things to come from if Diallo win those sort of 1v1s.
Yep. About the last one, 25 minutes I think, was it? Maybe a bit less than that at the San Mames on Thursday in his first appearance for quite some time, and then getting 45 minutes today. So they're clearly building up Ahmad's fitness to a point where they hope to get him to be starting, well, maybe even the next game.
Yeah, it is a foul actually. Mams hooked his right foot around Damsgaard's.
Yeah.
So definitely a free kick for Brentford.
The pass had to go a little bit earlier than that, didn't it?
Firmer.
Yeah. Well, no, I think he just delayed it by a split second. You know, the pass would have been into space for Obi before he took that next touch. And that's just the difference, isn't it? You know, that's the difference between being a Premier League player and being a wannabe Premier League player. You know, when you can execute those accurate passes that little bit quicker. And I think Amas just not quite coming up to the mark on this occasion. 10 minutes gone, second half. Manchester United play it back to Bayandir. Now Yoro. Out it goes to the other side, and Amas again. Infield to Garnacho. Garnacho looking for Amas to make a forward run, but Coyote had him well marked, and he wins the ball, and it comes off the back of Coyote. Falls for Collins. Brentford haven't really got much of an attack going in this second half. They had one early long throw, but since then haven't created a great deal. But they lead 2-1, and that at the moment will be good enough to move them up to 9th place in the Premier League table, hot on the heels of... well, actually, no, it wouldn't, because Brighton are winning as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Brighton winning 1-0?
Yep.
So Brentford would just move into 10th.
Correct. Above Fulham, 1 point behind Bournemouth, 2 behind Brighton as things stand.
Yeah.
I think most people would expect Newcastle to try and get back into that game though, whereas the way this is going, Brentford look fairly assured to keep the 3 points in London.
Manchester United about to make their 4th substitution of the game as well, with Christian Eriksen, once of Brentford, set to come on. So this means that Casemiro or Bruno Fernandes will not be coming on today. Rasmus Højlund, I don't think he was ever going to come on, to be honest, but he is on the bench. Anyway, it's a Brentford throw, left-hand side. Is this the time to make the move? Yes, it is. So Eriksen is coming on. And who will come off here for Manchester United? It's going to be Mason Mount. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Mount would last until the 70 or 75th minute, and he'd bring Bruno on just to give him a bit of play time ahead of Thursday. But like you say, that's all 3 of Manchester United's separate substitutions used, despite not using the full 5. An interesting decision. Maybe he's been so impressed with what he's seen, he wants to rest him for Thursday.
Well, can he not make... I thought it was 3... You get 3 windows for substitutions in game. Obviously, the half-time changes, I don't think they count against them. I don't think so. There's a chance here at the back post, and it's just gone wide. Long throw, flicked on by Vandenberg, and Visser arriving at the back post just couldn't quite get the touch. But Manchester United again, almost undone again by yet another long throw. Now they've got a chance to move it forward. Eriksen into Obi. Obi uses his backside really well and comes off the defender and gets fouled. Again, I think the ball could have been played a little bit earlier there by Obi once he'd made the turn, but now United play it forward anyway, and Garnacho trying again behind Coyote, who recovers well and knocks it out for a throw.
Yeah, indeed. Manchester United really wanted to as we've already seen, play with a relatively high tempo. Just look at replays, throwing the headers won initially by Van den Berg, I think it was, and it was Visser who couldn't convert at the back post. News of a penalty in Brighton for the away side Newcastle, as Manchester United still trying to come forward.
Yeah, headed cleared by Collins, drops on the edge of the box to Ugarte. Thought about the volley there, it was dropping sort of on his right foot, and could have been an opportunity, but he plays a sensible ball wide to Ahmad. Gets it back again, the Uruguayan, and finds Eriksen in midfield. Can the Dane knit things together for Manchester United? Mainu back to Ugarte, and Eriksen again. Wide it goes to the left-hand side for Garnacho. Garnacho on his right foot, thinking about the cross here, linking up nicely with Eriksen. Eriksen thought about pulling the trigger, still goes towards Garnacho. Could be a chance for Manchester United to sell it for Obi, and it's blocked on the line. Just in front of the line, a volleyed attempt from Ugarte falls kindly into the hands of the goalkeeper. But Obi, his first Premier League goal, was beckoning there. He had a side foot chance from 6 yards out, but a great despairing block.
Yeah, indeed, there was two players in front of him. But Brentford are now already on the attack. It's Mbumo coming forward, tries to play the ball into Wissa. Maguire will easily collect that and bring it away. Not cleared yet though, he's still inside his own box. But yeah, Obi just couldn't get it beyond the first defender, could he? There was probably another waiting to try and make a block as well, of course, Fleck and the goalkeeper. Brentford had plenty of players back, but it was nicely worked in the end.
Yeah. Since Eriksen's come on, he's playing central midfield now with Ugarte, and Kobbie Mainoo has been moved into that sort of inside 10 position, which I think is probably where Ruben Amorim thinks that Kobbie Mainoo is best used, in the Premier League, because he just lacks that. I don't know, it's not to say that Eriksen has that necessarily physicality, but he just has that ability to play the ball a bit quicker, I think, Eriksen, and that's what you need to do. Now, that's a good attempted pass from Kobbie Mainoo, but the defender just got a flick header to knock it away from Garnacho and back to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's shown a lot of frustration there as well, Garnacho, which isn't good, because it certainly wasn't Mainoo's fault. Maybe he could have played it a touch earlier, which is what I think Garnacho wanted. I thought he might have drifted offside anyway. But yeah, going back to the point about Kobbie Mainoo, it's clearly where Amorim prefers him, because when Kobbie Mainoo and Fernandes play, it's normally Mainoo who also plays ahead in behind the striker.
Lewis Potter trying to get past Ahmad, but the substitute does well defensively and finds Fredriksson. His pass back to Bayandé is then cleared right-footed by the Turk up into midfield, then volleyed back towards Norgard, who's got time to bring it down. Mainoo trying to get into a challenge, it comes off United leg, and then Fredriksson clears down the line. Headed back infield, Mainoo seizes upon possession. Eriksen gets an early ball forward, this time down the middle of the pitch, and there's a good run here from Garnacho, but Coyote just outpaces him, and he's too strong, and shepherds it back to the goalkeeper Flecken to clear. But that's what you want to see. Eriksen has got that ability to spot the pass just like that and deliver it. It was a good delivery, just that Coyote was good defensively against Garnacho.
Yeah, there's only two players in Manchester United's squad who can play those first-time quick passes where they don't really have to get their head up to find them, and it is him. And
he's the only one on the pitch.
He's the only one on the pitch who can do it, and that's always what you miss when you haven't got one of those two in there.
Yeah, it was a great weighted pass as well, wasn't it? Because the keeper was never going to come out for that.
It's the way he just knows that the space is there and that there's going to be a player running onto it. And like I say, it wasn't obvious that he was looking for it. I think the likes of Busquets and Carrick, they'll always say the best thing you can do as a central midfielder is constantly scan the pitch, and he obviously had been scanning.
Yeah, well, we've gone past the hour mark in this game. It is still Brentford 2, Manchester United 1, but there's a bit of fight in this Manchester United team now. They're dominating possession a little bit more. Long ball into the box, headed away, drops to Garnacho on the edge. Garnacho dribbling infield. It might fall to their converted winger Harry Maguire here, but no, Coyote has cleared it away. He's gone down under no contact, but referee says play on, and now it's up towards Mbuemo. Mbuemo attacking Amas. Big defensive test here for the youngster. Mbuemo gets a bit of help from Ugarte, and eventually they stop the Cameroonians' progress and come away with the ball. Nice sort of flow and end-to-end feel about this game now.
Yeah, it's really good. I just cannot believe what I've just seen from Coyote, if I'm honest. Eriksen, in the end, was still half a yard away from it. It looked like Eriksen was going to dive in, but as soon as Coyote took the touch around him, he's gone straight down, and the Dane was nowhere near touching him. Referees don't call for simulation unless it's in the box nowadays. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think it's... it doesn't look good for the player, but he didn't really do any sort of major damage to the... the game. Anyway, United have the ball with Garnacho. Square to Mainoo. Back to Amas. Obi just shuffling into the penalty area, not making any particular run of conviction at the moment, but then why would you? Because they've not really looked to get the ball up to him. It's been slow build up. Now they'll try with Ahmad down the right. He's going to go up against Lewis Potter. Plays it inside to Ericsson. Ball in towards Obi's not a bad one. He couldn't cut the header, but it falls to Garnacho. Back post. Garnacho to the byline. Cuts it back straight to Norgard. And Brentford, with numbers back, should clear. Buemo down the line. Sells Damsgaard a bit short, though. And it's going to come back now through Manchester United and Ugarte and Yoro. Ericsson unleashes a shot, which is way over the bar and wide.
Yeah, not the best decision from Ericsson. I think there was a chance maybe on the right hand side again, but you see this so much from Yoro driving forward with the ball. Excellent from him to try and remount Manchester United's attack. But yeah, it's just not quite happening for them in the box, is it? They're doing far better than they were in the first half to get the ball there. Garnacho in particular, maybe most of the time it's been through Garnacho on that left hand side. Obi just missed his header with that ball in from Ericsson, but it's promising.
Now Brentford play it short. They're trying to bait Manchester United into the press. They can't play through that initial press, but they've still got a chance here through Norgard. He makes a good run and then puts an early ball in towards Visser, but his poor header. He's had a poor game today, Visser, actually, overall. Forced for Fredriksson to knock it back to Bayandir. United moving the ball quite quickly and with purpose at the moment. Yoro being put under some pressure now by Damsgaard. Turns away from the day and then gets a nudge and falls down. I think he's won either a free kick or a throw in there in the left back position. They're going to send on Jensen now, Brentford, the Danish midfielder, but not quite at the moment because Manchester United taking a throw in and Namas coming away with it with Garnacho in support. Played back to Ugarte. It just seems like the Manchester United midfield's got a bit more time on the ball now, and Ericsson is one player you don't want to give time to. He's pass out towards Ahmad on the right. Ahmad now with a couple of defenders ahead of him, goes back towards Ericsson, who gives him the ball back. Ahmad now has only got one defender in front of him, and he's going to attack Lewis Potter. And he gets onto his left foot for a shot, which he drives against the defender's legs, and it goes out for a corner.
Yeah, indeed. Good work from Ahmad. He's capable of going either way, isn't he? He can cut in on his left, but he's probably best at going down the byline. He's already beaten Collins once on the right, so Lewis Potter obviously aware that he's got to kind of watch both avenues.
Manchester United's first corner of the game comes in the 65th minute. Harry Maguire is stood inside the 6-yard box. Lenny Yoro joins him. Fredriksson trying to gain position near post, and Fredriksson trying to get there as it's just about cleared by Brentford. And then Buemo runs it out of the penalty area, but he's not really got many options to pass to. He tries to run the defender himself and keeps it in. He does really well for Brentford there. Gains them some ground and now plays it back into a safe area.
Yeah, he was up against Ugarte, wasn't he? I'm sure he knew that Ugarte was yellow carded. Long ball forward now, looking for Visser. Headers won by Fredriksson, does well.
Yeah, there's just a few gaps appearing in this Brentford team now. You can see that Ericsson almost automatically slots into the positions to find them. Feels like that was a good move by Amorim to bring Christian Eriksen on at that point, as he has the ball again.
Definitely changed the game, hasn't he?
Yeah, knocks it back to Maguire. Fredriksson plays it back to the former United captain. I think he probably is captain at the moment, isn't he? Because Luke Shaw started the game as captain. Ball over the top is messed up by Collins, and it falls to Garnacho. He's got Obi making a run down the middle. He's got Ahmad out to the right hand side, and that's where the ball's gone. Ahmad in the penalty area now, faced by one defender. Knocks it back to Garnacho. He's got to shoot, and it's again blocked by a fantastic bit of work from, I think, Vandenberg on this occasion. And Brentford managed to clear their lines.
A lot of pressure though. Ugarte up against the back of Sharda. Lewis Potter's going to try and find a way to get it out, but they can't. So now Diallo's got the ball in the corner.
He backheels it
Really
and
smart.
gets a bit of help from Mainu. Now's a chance for Ericsson to deliver a ball, which he chips to the back post, and it's taken really well. And a shot comes in from Amas, which he blasts over the bar.
Yeah, like you say, he took it really well, but just rushes it when he comes to the shot. He's probably better off trying to take a second touch away from Coyote and get the ball across in. But he's not had much to do in attacking areas, has he? Amas probably just got a bit excited.
Yeah. So did Newcastle miss that penalty then?
Well, I was just looking. I don't think they actually had one in the end.
Right.
I think it may have been
VAR.
Yeah, VAR and given us a free kick. It was given us a free kick in the end.
Well, at the moment, Brentford are making some gains on, Fulham at least, above them. But they're only keeping pace with Brighton. Now, Jensen is on for Jarmolyuk. And we've reached that three-quarter point of the game. It's still Brentford 2, Manchester United 1 to take you through to full time. It's going to be Kieran Shelley.
Thank you very much, Simon. Still West Ham 1, Tottenham 1 as well. It's sort of in the same pack as Manchester United in terms of the 4 above the drop zone, and a little bit of a gap between them and, well, I guess you could probably include Wolves in that pack of 5. Pardon the pun. With Flecken takes this goal kick very deep into Manchester United's half, headed on by Guemo, but Yoro's going to get there first, following pressure from Visser. So it'll be a throw in for Brentford, probably not deep enough for Coyote to take a long throw. I'm sure he'll still take it, of course, with it being on his side. Ruben Amorim looking on, as Simon corrected me. He still does have that one change, and you'd think maybe Ugarte due to the yellow card, maybe Fernandes if he really wants to go and win the game, but we were discussing at half-time that not that bothered. That 3 points. His players to be safe and sound for Thursday.
Yeah, I think this, obviously Bruno Fernandes, you want to wrap up in cotton wool, but then there's a game. There's points to be won here in this situation. So United are on top. Maybe seeing no reason maybe to make that change at the moment whilst they are on top.
Yeah, Diallo trying to swing the ball in, takes a deflection, goes towards Flecken's goal. In the end, that deflection really did take any pace off of it, which meant that the Dutch goalkeeper could collect comfortably. It would have been going wide anyway for a corner. He's passed it short to Vandenberg. A bit more of a press on from Manchester United. They've got more impetus to win the ball from Brentford, as they've not been anywhere near as good in the last 20 minutes or so as they were in the first half at getting the ball forward. Trying to play it out from the back now. It's with Lewis Potter on the left, still only just ahead of their own box. Nice work between Lewis Potter and Norgard to get the ball out, and they have won themselves a throw-in on the left-hand side. Thanks to Ahmad's press on Lewis Potter. Bruno Fernandes just chatting to Mason Mount. Probably giving him some pointers, as Mount's very much played in his position today.
Yeah, I think Mount may have played himself into Ruben Amorim's thoughts for for the big games, if you like, because he's withdrawn him in this game. And you think, obviously he's a player that wants minutes, but maybe the thought is that he needs to protect Mount because he sees a role for him against Athletic Bilbao on Thursday. Yeah, absolutely. I thought he played really well. Cross comes into the box again for Brentford, the second one in quick succession. Now out to Norgard, 30 yards out. He's managed to release it to Coyote, but intercepted by Ahmad.
Here's Coyote for Brentford.
In the box, takes a shot across into the box, and it's in the back.
And his defender it was about to punch it. They collided with each other. Crossed back in by Lewis Potter, away by Maguire with his head, picked up by Norgard just outside United's penalty area. To boot
not
on
the
it.
second balls, and then the ball's floated very inviting.
And Mbumo, right side of the box, into the penalty area. It's 3-1. Brentford have scored a third. It's Kevin Schade. It's another for him and another with his head.
Haven't they? And Bremu's picked up a few chances down that right-hand side, but hasn't really delivered up until this point. This occasion, he comes good, and I'm interested to see possibly a little bit of a rebound, because I think it takes a little bit a deflection on his ball to the box. United are unable to clear the ball. The ball gets out to Mbremu. It's from Damsgaard who receives it. He cuts onto his left foot. It does take a little deflection up, which gives it the height on the pass. And Schade is there on for the second time this season, a little bit further out than the first one. But it's a fabulous downward header into the corner of the goal. And you've got to say, the way the game's gone so far in the stage of the match we're at the moment, that should be all 3 points wrapped up. And Thomas Frank is just stood on the touchline as he's about to make another change, giving a thumbs up to his team.
Mind you, the goal scorer's not going to be very happy, because he's the one who's been taken off here, Kevin Schade. So
he's on a hat-trick.
He's on a hat-trick, and Thomas Frank is saying no more. Let's make a change. And look at Johan Wisser here. He's indicating to all of the crowd with his hands. He's lifting his arms up and down. He's saying, let's give this man a little bit of respect. Look at Thomas Frank. He's immediately putting his arms around Schade and almost apologetically saying, look, I'm sorry that you're coming off on 2 goals.
Yeah, it was an interesting exchange, wasn't it? Schade smiling there, didn't seem too disappointed about it, but Thomas Frank giving a little brief explanation as to why he did it. I think But I think, you know, a lot of goal scorers would be upset with, you know, plenty of time still left to potentially get that third goal.
Obi racing in. Here's a chance for Obi. Was he pulled down? Oh, the free kick's gone the other way. And the reason that Anthony Taylor has seen it like that, because he saw contact from Obi on Collins before he then went tumbling under a potential push from Vandenberg there.
Yeah, there was the first challenge initially, wasn't there, and a potentially little pullback, but I'm not quite sure how much Obi has actually done there to cause a foul. It's a little bit of a shoulder barge, but I think, I'm not quite sure who it was that went down, but didn't seem to be any contact from Obi. A little bit of a bizarre one, to be honest. Thought if anything he might have got the decision there.
Yeah, because Collins almost looked like his own defender Vandenberg might have played a part in sending him to the ground there.
Is that who it was? Yeah, I don't think it was Obi. Again, I think a more senior player might sort of be remonstrating with the referee, sort of pleading that wasn't the case.
Yeah. Didn't have too much to say there, did he, Chido Obi, as Brentford with a 3-1 lead now against Manchester United. Want more. Jensen, here's Coyote. It's 4-1. It's Johan Wissa. Brentford have torn through Manchester United with that goal. And Johan Wissa onto 18 Premier League goals for the season. That is classy stuff from Brentford. And they surely have won this game here now for the second time in their Premier League history. They've bashed 4 past Manchester United at the G-Tech. Brentford 4, Manchester United 1.
Yeah, they're on a real roll now, aren't they, Brentford? I thought the game would have been over and wrapped up at 3-1, but they're just signing and sealing that now this afternoon. And as you say, we've got a real Golden Boot competition going on between Brian and Braymore on 18 goals. And Johan Wissa now on 18 goals privately in the club, but they're good value for it as well. It's good movement, good interplay. In the middle of the park initially, it's a wonderful little pass, I think, from Damsgaard. Might just be seeing this VAR possible check on an offside here.
Yeah, and I think there's 2 passages of play here that VAR will be having a look at. The initial ball through to Coyote from Jensen, which was terrific, by the way, and then the ball across from Coyote to Wissa, and whether Wissa was ahead of the ball when that pass was played.
Yeah, spot on, Chris. It'd be a real shame because it was a lovely move and great play from Brentford, but again, it's a tight one. I think the first one's okay. I think he's onside, but then we'll have to sort of see what that second square pass across the box to Wissa, whether that was offside as well, whether he just crept a little bit ahead of the ball. Wissa strolling back to the touchline, about to have a chat with his manager Thomas Frank. He's put a thumbs up, asking for a drink, so maybe he's pretty confident that it's okay, but everyone in the stadium, along with ourselves, are waiting for the decision from VAR.
Yeah, and they're to use a cricket term, they're rocking and rolling, aren't they, between the footage here. They've had a look at the first offside, and now they're moving on to look at the second one.
I think it's a goal. Just seeing a still on the VAR screen. Still yet to announce it, but I think the goal's good.
They've got the semi-automated offside technology now in the Premier League, so it's meant to make these offside decisions much quicker. Mind you, the delay has been going on a little while now, as they're still looking at the footage. And now they've confirmed the goal, and it is indeed Brentford 4, Manchester United 1. And with that, United are going to make their final possible change, which is Victor Lindelof coming on for Tyler Fredrickson. And that means that, rather extraordinary, the 3 players that lined up in Manchester United's back 3 from the start of the game today have all gone off. De Ligt, Fredrickson and Shaw.
Well, they've conceded 4 goals, Chris, so there's probably a sign in it yourself, which is a big statement in many ways. And, you know, you almost say in some ways, I'm not saying it's a given, but the team Ruben Amorim put out, clearly you know their priority is Thursday in the Europa League, but it's been a poor season for them in the Premier League as well. But coming to a game in a ground like Brentford in the form that they've been in, it's almost asking for trouble, really.
They are heading Manchester United for their 16th Premier League defeat of this season, and that has not happened to Manchester United since the 1989-1990 season.
Well, there you go. It says it all, doesn't it? And their hopes for some kind of success in this season hangs just by a string and solely now on the Europa League and what they can do, and hopefully qualifying for the Champions League, because Ruben Amorim's got his work cut out coming in midway through the season. He's going to have to really work hard next year. If they do win the Europa League and they qualify for the Champions League, there's that additional games throughout the campaign, and it's going to be tough not having that time on the training ground.
I mean, great credit to the Manchester United supporters. Brentford in possession inside their own penalty area. They are almost in unison, leaping up and down, dancing in that away end and chanting away, despite the fact their team have gone from leading 1-0 in this game to being 4-1 down on this Sunday afternoon in London.
Yeah, they're in good spirits. I mean, they've got nothing else to look forward to Thursday night now, really, you'd have to say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it is all eyes, isn't it, on that game against Athletic Bilbao for United on Thursday. Make sure you're with us for that on 5 Live, and indeed for Spurs against Werder Glimt on the same night. We'll have Arsenal at Paris Saint-Germain for the second leg of their Champions League semi-final on Wednesday as well. It's a great week of European football on 5 Live, but here has United win a throw on this near right-hand side. They are 4-1 down against Brentford, 2 from Kevin Schade, a goal from Johan Wisser, an own goal from Luke Shaw, and all off the back of Mason Mount's 14th minute opener for Manchester United. But those broad smiles at that point in the United camp feel an awful long time ago now, as Harry Amass scrapping for the ball on the left-hand side, picked up by Garnacho, running at Brentford's back line. He's given it to Mainu just outside the box. This is Diallo looking to get it back towards Kobbie Mainu again, but was asking too much of him, and in steps Sepp van den Berg, who looked very confident as he strode over to win the ball there for United. And Rico Henry, who was the player that came on for Kevin Schade, gives it back to Flecken, and Flecken boots it up into Manchester United territory.
Yeah, maybe not the best of balls from Flecken, but certainly composed and confident defending from his defenders. Look, completely in control, dominant in this game so far now. And the United players just can't get near the Brentford side at the moment.
Lewis Potter feeding it through for Brentford. Wisser onto it, out comes Bayindir, just about gets there first, the United keeper. Sweeps it upfield, out of play, far right-hand side for a Brentford throw. They're great to watch in full flow, aren't they, Brentford?
Oh, it's impressive. You can't take it away from Brentford, can you, Chris? And Thomas Frank's stock with the way he's gone about his management and the years he's been here at Brentford. Certainly this season, they've been fantastic in the way he's improved the players with his staff. Thus far, it's been a real successful season for Brentford, and they're making a few more changes as we speak.
Yeah, and the first of the 3 that are going to make way here for Brentford is getting a great reception. Michael Kayode, as his number came up on the little digital display being held by the 4th official, Sam Barrett. So Kayode off, and Christopher Ayer, the Norwegian, is on for him. Mikael Damsgaard is also trotting off the pitch in front of us. So we're going to see Gustavo Nunes on for him. And also the warmest reception as well for Igor Thiago, the 23-year-old Brazilian, who arrived at the club last summer, but he's had a horrible run of injuries. He's had a big issue with his knee, and he is on here, Igor Thiago, for only his 5th Premier League appearance of the season. He's only just returned from injury today. Yeah,
always nice to see players that are returning from an injury, especially if it's a long-term one for any player, to get back on the turf, out there in the first team action again. And it's the perfect circumstances to be coming on, isn't it, when you side a 4-1 up in a game, completely controlling it.
Into the final 10 minutes we go. 4-1 Brentford lead against Manchester United, who are on the attack here on the left-hand side with Garnacho, who retrieves it back off Eriksson. Garnacho, what a beauty that is from the edge of the penalty area. That's another special one from Alejandro Garnacho. It might matter little in terms of the overall outcome of this game, but he's got a habit of scoring special goals, Garnacho, and that's a treat. Brentford 4, Manchester United 2.
And well, he's crafted it pretty much all himself, but he played a lovely little 1-2 with Christian Eriksen. And then, as we see players so often nowadays, once they just get into that area, cutting inside, running almost parallel with the 18-yard box, wrapped his right foot around it, into the far net, past Flecken. It's a wonderful finish, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, it's a great finish. Probably one tier down, I would say, from that amazing goal he scored against Everton. I don't know if you remember that one at Goodison Park, Franny, but that was still pretty good, that one from Garnacho.
Yeah, my memory's not always the best, Chris, but certainly if I'd scored a goal like we've just seen there today, I'd be still doing laps of the pitch, to be honest. So he's capable of that, isn't he?
He is.
As you say, he's got that in his locker. Probably really needs to be seeing it a bit more on occasions.
So that has given Manchester United just a little sniff here at the G-Tech, but it's a Brentford throw in the meantime they need to deal with, which is in from Jensen. It's dropped to Mbeumo, and Mbeumo tried to get it through the crowd. There were a lot of players to try and negotiate it through, and Diallo then brings it away for United, but as he tries to make his way forward, Gustavo Nunes blocks him with a sliding challenge, and it's out on this near side for a United throw just inside their own half. 4-2 to Brentford, the scoreline.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting now if that goal from Garnacho does give, it's certainly given the visiting fans something to cheer about. Will that reflect what we see from the team on the pitch? Can they get this third goal back? Then it would be a really interesting.
He's just gone down in the box, Garnacho. Eriksen lifted the ball forward. It was never going to reach Garnacho, but Garnacho went tumbling off the ball and is now sort of sat upright looking at Anthony Taylor with his arms outstretched, saying, is that a penalty?
Yeah, I'm not so sure, Chris. There's certain players that when they do go to the ground, you think, yeah, that must be a possible foul, and others where you think others go to ground a little bit too easy, and I think that was the case with Garnacho there.
Here he is again, though. He's causing a bit of problems to Brentford all of a sudden. Garnacho, his attempts to get into the box are intercepted, but United have got the ball back on the halfway line with Harry Maguire. 6 minutes to go. Brentford 4, Manchester United 2. And we've learnt in recent weeks with Manchester United, don't write off dramatic comebacks, Franny.
No, certainly they're capable of it, but you've got to look at the players that are on the pitch as well now, from what the starting lineup was as well. A lot more experience, with respect, the qualities that are a bit different as well.
There's Harry Maguire for Manchester United. Match of the day 2 tonight. By the way, you can watch all the Premier League goals from 10:30 on BBC One and the iPlayer. We've got Chelsea against Liverpool to come on 5 Live from 4:30 today. There's Garnacho on the left wing for Manchester United. I mean, one more United goal and it will suddenly feel very familiar, and they'll be full of confidence about in terms of getting back into games late on. Garnacho chipping it up towards the far post, headed away by Rico Henry, and then on away again by Nunes, and then Maguire picks it up. He lost his balance and he's out of position, and Brentford have got all sorts of players flooding forward here. Wisser on his head from the halfway line, he's gone into the box. Wisser across goal, and Yoro was the one there for United to stop it, and Mbeumo was beyond him, but Yoro was certainly there first and put himself in a good position.
Well, some foot race, wasn't it, between him and Lindelof. Wisser winning out.
They got more defending to do here, Manchester United, as Gustavo Nunes, the young Brazilian, picks up the ball left side of United's penalty area. Back it goes for Rico Henry, now infield for Jensen. Brentford 4, Manchester United 2, the scoreline. Still Brighton 1, Newcastle 0, and West Ham 1, Spurs 1. But all those goals, by the way, were in the first half of those games in the Premier League this afternoon. You can hear them both, the closing stages, right now on 5 Live for Brighton, Newcastle, and online via the BBC Sport website for West Ham against Spurs. And in the Women's Super League, we've already seen Everton win 2-0 at Liverpool, and the Manchester derby finished 2-2. It's currently Crystal Palace 1, Leicester 1, and Spurs 0, Chelsea 1. And that game's live right now on BBC 2.
We've got some good games going on, haven't we? Lots to look forward to as well. But just coming back to that effort from Wisser, it was a great run from him. And I thought he would have taken the shot on, to be honest, but very unselfishly tried squaring it to his teammate, Mbeumo, who's racing up to join in, but it came to nothing.
Ugarte for Manchester United, clipped ball out to the left wing for Amas, couple of touches, then with his left boot he's delivered a cross which wasn't where it intended it to go, and in fact it has gone out of play. I thought they might have got away with it, that it swirled within the lines, but it's clearly crossed it as indicated by the assistant referee, so it is a goal kick to Brentford. 4-2, Thomas Frank's team lead.
Yeah, I mean, if United were to get a third goal back, I would never have called it, to be fair, but 6 goals so far. It's been an entertaining game of football to watch, that's for sure, and follow. And Brentford are just going from strength to strength, aren't they? Great opportunity to have their best ever Premier League finish this season. I think 9th place was the best that they've achieved so far, and they've gone on and got a great opportunity to finish even higher this season.
It might very well be a talking point, Brentford, as may Manchester United be on the Monday Night Club on 5 Live from 7 o'clock with Mark Chapman and Chris Sutton and Rory Smith. Here is Brian Mbeumo, who, despite the fact Brentford have scored 4 today, isn't on the score sheet, which is a bit of a surprise in itself, given he's got 18 this season. But so is Johan Wissa now, and with Kevin Schaders 2 today, that's 3 Brentford players in double figures for Premier League goals this season.
Incredible, isn't it? Yeah, and then you compare that to United's highest top goal scorer, Bruno Fernandes. He's got 8 goals, just shows you the difference between the two teams.
And Mbeumo, he would fancy a goal here for Brentford. He's tried to play a little 1-2 there. It didn't quite come back to him from Igor Thiago, and it's ricocheted through into the grasp of Baye Ndir, the Manchester United goalkeeper, who rather unfortunately, just as he did at Newcastle a few weeks ago, has conceded another 4 goals in the Premier League today on his second start for Manchester United in the league, and he nearly got caught out there by Igor Thiago. He dwelt on the ball and Thiago almost took it off him.
Do you know what? Players are, they're not silly in the sense that, if they recognise a goalkeeper or a defender or a player just dwells on the ball that little bit too long for a fraction of a second, that it gives them the opportunity to really go and press them, doesn't it? And it could have easily ended up with egg on his face there.
Into the last 60 seconds of the 90. 4-2 to Brentford against Manchester United here on 5 Live Sports Extra and on BBC Sounds. We'll be off to the cricket after this to find out what's been happening in the county championship. Here's Lenny Yoro, a couple of touches for him, couldn't quite bring it under his spell, and then Jensen clears it away and out of the penalty area for Brentford. And Mbeumo collects it on the right wing. He's squeezed it past Amas, but intercepting it is Maguire, who puts a toe there in front of Igor Thiago. And now Alejandro Garnacho picks it up for Manchester United from the left. Mainu outside the penalty area. Mainu to the left wing for Amas. Amas getting his head up, looking around, nothing in the box that he could particularly aim for, so he goes back for Yoro. Then Eriksson does get it in towards Obi. Obi bundling his way through. Obi shoots. Closed down by Van den Berg. Not for the first time in this game. Brentford defenders getting in the way of the young Manchester United striker's chance.
Yeah, and for a split second I thought he was going to be away. He fashioned a little bit of space to get his left-footed shot away, but again, not for the first time this afternoon. Fabulous block by the Brentford defence.
Here they come again, United. Mainu inside the penalty area, stopped by Collins, behind for a Manchester United corner, and we move into 7 minutes of stoppage time, and for Manchester United, 7 minutes more than enough to score 2 goals.
Well, the visiting fans have just applauded Christian Eriksen, who's gone over to take the corner. It'd make it an interesting 7 minutes if they get a goal from this. Wouldn't it just? Eriksen with the corner from the left, headed away by Nathan Collins for Brentford. He was the one who leapt very high at the near post. Garnacho is thinking about another shot from the edge of the box. Instead he's given it to Diallo, and that has almost taken out Nathan Collins in there. He stopped it with his head, but he fell backwards, such was the power of it. And now Brentford try and break down the right hand side, but Eriksen has halted that for Manchester United, so they have to go all the way back, Brentford, to Collins, who's been harassed by Obi, so he's forced into a long ball up the right side from Mbeumo, and out it goes off Amas. No, it doesn't. It's kept in by Eriksen. They're keeping up the pressure here, Manchester United, despite the fact they need to find 2 goals, Franny Benali. Yeah, they certainly are, Chris, aren't they? And that almost like the added time of 7 minutes going up was just given sort of the players and the supporters in the stadium that sort of added impetus to really sort of try and raise the game in these final minutes. So a goal here would really make it fascinating, wouldn't it? But Brentford have looked solid throughout. They've just got to keep it sensible, manage the game now for these remaining minutes to see through to a victory.
United in possession, high up inside Brentford's half on the right hand side with Amad Diallo. Back it goes for Victor Lindelof with that slightly curly mop of hair, and now Lenny Yoro brings it forward for United. This is Harry Maguire. Maguire trying to pick a pass. He's got it through to Mainu. Mainu's got a couple of Brentford players around him, and the ball is hurried away from him, and now hurrying away from Manchester United's midfield is Johan Wissa, who has options either side, and he's run into trouble, Johan Wissa, in the form of Ugarte, who in turn will bring it forward for Manchester United. Garnacho trying to make a darting run from the left-hand side. Here he is, Garnacho, a step over, a ball across and behind, and a Manchester United corner with 3 minutes into that 7 of stoppage time.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times this afternoon Ugarte's done so well in just reading a pass, intercepting the ball, and it enabled United to make a quick counter-attack, and they've taken a quick corner.
In it comes, headed away by Van den Berg for Brentford, only as far as Amas, who is 20 yards outside the box. Now the small frame of Amad Diallo giving it back to Harry Amas, but Brentford have got 11 players basically behind the ball here. Diallo challenged by Nunes, who got a boot on the ball, but won back well by Ugarte, and it's back with Amad Diallo across from Harry Maguire. That was nearly another assist from Maguire. It was too high for Lenny Yoro, who was running at full pace to try and get his head on it, and the ball has flashed all the way out to the opposite side for a Brentford throw.
Yeah, we've seen some heroics from Harry Maguire at the attacking end of the pitch in recent games, but on that occasion it was just a little bit too heavy on his delivery into the box, wasn't it? We're just seeing Ruben Amorim on our screen pacing around a little bit frustrated.
And those Manchester United supporters are intent on enjoying their afternoon and what is left of their season, which ultimately all comes down to Thursday night and maybe beyond, maybe a trip back to Bilbao. They'll certainly feel that is very possible now. Amad Diallo, this is Obi back for Lindelof, halfway inside Brentford's half. Ugarte out to the right wing for Amad Diallo. United have got 4 players in the box. Diallo's going to go alone. Diallo shoots, he scores. It's gone through the legs of Mark Flecken. It's Brentford 4, Manchester United 3, and we're 4 minutes into stoppage time with 3 minutes still to play. Surely United aren't going to do some sort of massive rescue act again here.
Well, if they do, it would be the most incredible comeback for sure, and it's got the home supporters not